All right, what is Maureen the song? Sing it.
There's no song Maureen that I know of.
Oh, you were just singing
I just made up a song.
Maureen. That's what she sounded like. That's not.
Yes, but I'm not going to do that again.
Well, sure, that was an actual song. You know a billion songs, so I assumed it was an actual real song.
Is there a song with Maureen in it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
How about with just like Mo?
Mo?
I don't know. Yeah, that's like short for Maureen. Mo, Nickelodeon, right? No.
Right.
Yeah, that's not it. No.
No, that's not it.
Hey, today we got somebody cool coming on, and I kind of say that every time, don't I, Tom?
But this time I really mean it.
We do have a lot of cool people
we
coming
do,
on,
we
though.
do.
We do. But this time we have someone that is not here, someone who's going to have to call in and talk to us. We have Maureen Davis. She's originally from Toledo, but she is going to be here doing one of our starring role episodes because she's been in the theater, acting, musical business for a while now.
Not has been, is.
Is. Sorry, let me correct that. You're right. Is in it still. In fact, she's going to get to what she's currently working on at some point during this. But we're going to do our normal thing now. We're going to harass her and ask her, like, where did you start? How did you do this stuff? But I don't want to ruin it. I'm going to let her explain everything.
Hello.
Hey, good morning. Oh, it's afternoon now there, isn't it?
Afternoon over here.
Yeah.
Gonna plug these into. So hi.
Hi. So I already did my little intro to our listeners, just saying that you were kind of a big deal and that you started off doing this from the area, but we want to go all the way back. We want to go back to like the beginning of time. So that's what we want to do almost. So basically the first thing we want to do is we want you to tell us, I guess, what would you consider to be like your coolest, most amazing thing that you've accomplished in the musical theater world?
Well, I mean, there've been two.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually really proud of everything I've done.
Of course.
I think the big thing was getting on Broadway with Bernadette Peters.
That is huge.
That's big. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, but then, I'm in LA, and while I'm in LA, I keep getting called back to New York to do things. And then with Paula, the way I met Paula, who's my partner, my production partner for Sleepyland Band, and who's also in my musical I wrote. She's my bestie.
Yeah.
I met her at an audition here in LA at Debbie Reynolds Studios. I just crashed the audition. I didn't know what it was. They said, sing jazz. I sang jazz. And we ended up playing at Carnegie Hall.
Yikes.
And that's a nice thing to be on your resume. It's not just, you can't really buy into the place. At least in those days you couldn't in the 90s. But we ended up singing for a world peace tour with the world-renowned vibraphonist Gary Burton. And when Gary travels around the world, he has an entourage and people know him and they meet him in whatever country he's in. And he's in jazz and in orchestral music. Gary Burton is the as we like to say. So we had Broadway, we had Carnegie Hall, which I think was a cool thing. And going to that Carnegie Hall tour took us to Russia during the coup attempt.
Oh my gosh! So Tom's mouth just keeps gaping bigger and bigger every new thing you keep telling that you've accomplished.
And Leningrad became St. Petersburg, and so we're part of history. And we're like, what is going on here?
Jeez.
And then, I don't know. I was submitting songs for TV and film, and I got into I was interning for these cartoon composers.
So when I asked you this question, I was like, I assumed right away you were going to say, I was in the original cast, of Into the Woods with Bernadette Peters. That's what I thought you were going to say. But it turns out you're actually way cooler than I even realized how cool you were. Because my lazy little research got me this far, and then I said, "Stop, Kyle. Let her come on the air. Yeah, let her tell what's going. That's all I need to know. Yeah, let her come on and tell."
Well, you just, as you go through stages in your life and even teaching, and I'm working with kids whose parents are TV and music celebrities, and you meet people in your travels. And one of my rocker moms, as I call them, knew somebody in Los Angeles theater, and that person helped me, script doctored my play, and that script got produced. And you keep meeting people. Or I do the ultimate jam night here at the Whiskey. I did that for 7 years. I was the vocal music arranger and singer, and I would sing with my band there too. And you meet all these rock stars, and all of a sudden Tiffany is saying, hey, do you think you could come on tour with me and sing backups? Or you're
The
working
singer,
as
Tiffany?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't end up doing it. She didn't have the budget. She ended up, just letting her guys sing. But we sang with her at those big festival contests. And then I'm reaching out to the producer of that thing, who's Chuck Wright, who was the replacement bass player in Quiet Riot. And he becomes my music mentor. And I go, Chuck, can you find me like a female Brian Setzer? And he goes, oh, I want you to meet Ronnie Lee. Now she's my guitarist in my band and in my play. So it's wherever you go, if you put yourself somewhere and you want things to happen and you're a spaz like me, they're going to happen.
Yeah, spaz helps. That'd be me then. I'm kind of a spaz. Good. Things could hit me big here then. So.
Yeah, but just because that stuff happened to me and just because it looks great on a resume doesn't mean I'm not struggling for my rent right now. Because now we've got a WGA and a SAG strike.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't been doing a lot of SAG work at all, but that means that the people I've been singing sessions for movie trailers or, anybody who might have hired me can't do it because there's nothing going on.
Right. Yeah, that's an excellent point. That's a very topical thing. Obviously, it just happened. I just saw that posted, like that that they've joined the Writers Guild in the strike. So, okay, so now let's go back in time. Now we are going to go back in time. So when you messaged me,
now.
no, it's good. It's good to establish, like, oh my gosh, who is this person, and why is she on Stage Door Podcast out of Toledo? Why would she bother calling these guys? Well, the truth is that you messaged me. You messaged me and said, hey, I'm from Toledo. And I was like, what? So let's start when you were young, obviously, and you started getting an interest in performing arts and doing that. Where did you go to school? Where did you start when you were 4? Or did you start when you were 19? When did you start getting into this?
I started pretty young. I think I was 8, maybe 9. And I was going to Hebrew school at Temple B'nai Israel.
I don't know that one.
Road.
Where's it at?
See, I remember all my roads. It used to be off the Secor.
Oh, good.
And I was kind of uber Jew. I wanted to grow up and be a lady rabbi. I was like really into it. Now I'm a Jew-boo. I'm a Jew-boo Winnie the Pooh.
What's that mean? I don't know what that means.
I'm like, I have a Jewish heritage and Buddhist thought.
Oh.
But Winnie the Pooh kind of guides me every day.
Okay.
You could do a lot worse than Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah. He's got good advice. Trying to figure out how old Winnie the Pooh is. He has sage words, but he's also like a kid. I don't know.
Winnie the Pooh is Taoist. They had the Tao of Pooh, and they were comparing Winnie the Pooh to Eastern thought. It's pretty cool. But anyway, so I was little, and we used to do plays at the temple. They had a very active music and theater program there. Nice. Because the members were in the theater. And my mom was a singer and an actress, and she would get to do things there. And so I started in theater and music at the temple. But, when I got into, I don't think we even really had a big music program in junior high. I don't think it wasn't until high school where we had singing contests and we had, and it was classical music, and we had show choir, kind of like.
Where'd you go to high school?
What high school was that?
I went to high school, Sylvania, Southview.
Cool.
So it was Northview and Southview, and then I would do speech team, and speech team only makes you a stronger actor.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're doing
in front of
all
everybody.
the characters.
Yeah.
Did you either of you guys ever do speech team?
No, I didn't have I didn't have the cojones to do that kind of stuff. And that's what that takes, right? Like you said, it makes you stronger, but I'm not going to stand up in front of people. The book reports are bad enough for me, man. I wasn't going to.
Oh my God.
This is why we do a podcast.
Yeah.
We don't actually have to stand in front of people.
Yeah. So you're up there in debate, and you have to do the characters. And I know because my daughter did that, or was asked to do that, and because she was a strong actor. And they were like, hey, you'd be perfect over here. And I guess I didn't understand the correlation like you were saying.
Yeah, it really does make you strong because it helps you define, and I'm an acting teacher now. So it helps you define your characters, because if you can play two characters talking to each other and change your posture and change your look, like they did that, Lee Merriweather did that in Spoon River Anthology, which is a very famous theater piece where they multicast. They'll have between 4 and 6 actors and 2 musicians, and everybody plays a different character doing different monologues. And a few of them, talk to each other, but most of it's monologue. So something like Speech Team can really take you far. I was on the speech team in high school and in college.
Oh, that's good information to know for anybody out there who's younger in high school and is thinking of doing this. Get your butt on a speech and debate team.
Yeah, and debate just helps you if you want to be a lawyer or something. Well. Bam, 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 in their face.
Yeah.
Which college?
I was I went to the University of Toledo.
Ah, okay. But when you were younger, though, so was there somebody that when you were doing this was like, oh my gosh, you're actually pretty good at this, that encouraged you or anything like that? Did you start doing musicals in high school then, or were you just sticking mostly to plays? Or
it was musicals and plays. I played Helen Keller. We did Spoon River Anthology. I was the musician. I didn't always do plays because I couldn't, because I was on speech team traveling. But I would say George Bang. George Bang was like my biggest champion. He was our speech coach, and then he became a school counselor. And a few of us are still in touch with him on Facebook.
Wow. And what did he say to you that was man, you actually are pretty good at this?
He just said, if you want nationals, you're it. He says, if you want to do this, we can take it all the way. And my senior year, I became the Ohio State champion.
In speech.
So, in speech, yeah.
Interesting.
And he pushed me. I remember we even got in my senior year, we got into fights. And I'd go, ew, you're creeping me out, man. Why do you want me to do that? And he goes, because the character's a creep. He said, creep yourself out. He said, I need to see that character. And he's just so good. And what's funny is there's a guy named Cameron Dye. And Cameron Dye was in the movie Valley Girl. And he's been on LA Law and stuff. He's from Toledo. And he's several years earlier, than I am, several years older. And he had George too.
So he went to the same high school even?
George. He went to Northview, but years ahead of me.
Oh, okay.
And it might have been, he might be my sister's age. It might have been when there was no Southview or Northview.
No separation of views. Yeah. Only one view. Only one viewpoint.
Only one
there.
view. Yeah. But the Sylvania Southview was very much a college prep. And they just really, back when I went, they really cared about the creative process, and they were so proud of their musicians and their actors.
Nice.
As well as their athletes.
Well, I can tell you now that Sylvania still has a very strong theater system. Both schools.
Oh, good.
Both schools. I mean, Northview's doing like 5 shows a year, man. They don't even stop for the summer. Summertime rolls around, they're still doing shows. They just... Didn't
they move the Toledo Rep Theater to Lord's College? The nunnery?
No, they're still downtown.
Nope, still downtown, still here.
Still downtown?
Yeah, still in the same theater. Oh yeah, see, it's a very vibrant theater community here, and high schools like the Sylvania school system are a big part of that. They have some really great theater departments and directors in those schools that are taking those kids and nurturing them and pushing them out into the community theaters and making it even better. These community theater directors are winning a lot because of the fact that these high schools have such great programs. So I'm not that surprised that you have come from a school system that pushes that, even back when you were in school, and have continued it, if not, even a little bit more, keep pushing it.
So what did you do in college that kind of kept this going? Because I went to Toledo also, I just have to admit that.
I was a theater, dance, communications major, triple major with a music minor or something.
That was your triple threat major?
Yeah, that was my triple threat. It was like theater, dance, maybe it was theater and dance major and a communications and music minor or something dumb like that.
I had a music minor myself, but that was by accident. I just took all these music classes, and at the end, the counselor just said, by the way, do you know you have a minor in music? Really?
Thom, did you stay in college for 12 years, Thom? Is that what happened?
Did you graduate? Did you get your bachelor's?
Yeah, but mine was in broadcasting.
Oh, that's fantastic. When I was on speech team, when I was doing the communications and broadcasting, I worked at WERC.
Oh, yeah, so did I.
So Susan Pinsky and I had a radio show called the S&M Show.
Well,
Wow. Different show?
And we just reviewed music.
Oh, not the same kind of show. Okay.
When bands came in town, we would interview them. When bands were on tour, we would interview them.
Mine was much smaller.
Yeah.
It was like on a Friday afternoon. Everybody was gone. There was one guy upstairs that used to listen to me and call me and say, "Hey, you playing great music? Keep playing it." That was about it.
So this is what station was this?
WERC was the University of Toledo's radio station.
Oh, so
That's not the-
WXUT is
That-
what
that's
it's
right,
called
that's what
now.
it's called now,
Okay,
yeah.
so you were
I
on
don't
the
know.
University of Toledo's radio station, and then like
Yeah,
bands
and
were coming in, and you would interview the bands.
Yes, Susan and I would interview the bands, and Susan was gorgeous, and I was a late bloomer, and she was already like Miss America.
Oh,
And like all these guys and bands would just go ga ga ga, and I would just be the comic relief.
oh, geez.
That's like me and Kyle.
Yeah, I'm the comic relief. Tom's the
I thought
hot.
I was.
You're the eye candy. What are you talking about? So these bands, like, were there some big name bands that came through, or were they all bands we didn't know of?
Hall and Oates,
Oh yeah,
Journey.
that's a big one.
I mean, yeah, there was one. There's a punk band, and I can't remember what they were, but we really, really liked them. They were like new wave, because ERC, we were really into new wave music during ERC, and I really loved the program director would give me like the coolest thing to listen to, you know. And,
Yeah, all new college
so
music
I
you never
told
heard of when you were in
everybody.
high school, right? You're like, oh, I am so cool now. Exactly.
Yeah,
I
well,
did
had
some
big
DJing at
sisters, so-
WXUT when I was there. So, yeah, so look at this. Look at all of us working on the radio station at the
I knew I never met.
kindred spirits.
Kindred Spirit.
So you were
then-
there for a while doing that?
I was there for a while doing that, and then while I was in college, so straight out of high school, I went into my band director's wedding band, and he kind of like showed me the ropes and how to be in a band.
Your high school band
And
directors?
Yeah, when
Wedding
I
band?
became legal and could sing. Yeah, when I became legal and could sing, you know, with adults, or I mean, anybody can sing with adults. And my mom loved him, and he was a neighbor, and he was awesome. So I was in his wedding band, and I started really getting things going. And then I think somebody from the wedding band introduced me to this guy, and I was in a 50s band. And from that 50s band, we became Maureen and the Movers.
Oh.
And yeah, and we were pretty big. Is Kip still there? Does he still have clubs, or has he passed?
Oh,
He was a
Chips.
little
No,
bit
I know what
older.
you're talking about. No, I don't.
Kip,
Yeah,
K-
Kips. Yeah,
K
Kips.
is in kangaroo. Yeah.
He had a couple bars, restaurants.
Yeah.
Bars, not restaurants, but
He did.
Kips South,
so
Kips
he-
West, something like that.
Yeah.
Is that clubs?
So
yeah,
he-
clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He gave us our break, and he gave us our start. And then some, I don't want to say too much because I'm still friends with the guys. We lost Richard. We lost Richard, the guitar player, which was really sad. We just lost him within a few months. Such a sweetheart and such a great guitar player. But we had some disagreements, and you know, the guys were more into drinking and recreational drugs, and I was Little Miss Clean.
Yeah.
You know, I would get drunk on one blackberry brandy.
Yeah, you're a
you
early
know?
bloomer. Okay, I mean, this is...
Yeah, serious. I didn't feel comfortable with their adult world, and they, you know, and I wanted to do more than covers. I wanted to do originals, and I was missing theater, and I got to meet my great aunt Sandy, and she said, "Come to New York. Come to New
Nice.
York. You need to be in New York."
She was
And so-
already in New York, obviously, and you met her, and she
Yeah.
said, "Come live with me." And this is, you were how
Yeah.
old then?
I don't know,
Like 20?
mid-20s.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like 19. I don't know. I know I was sort of legal.
You were allowed to move.
So I was allowed to move. I was an adult. And so I broke up the band. They were not happy with me. I broke up the band, and that's okay. They've had like amazing. They've all made amazing music since then. So I love them. They're great. And went to New York to with $500 in my pocket. I sold my entire apartment. I took what I could carry on my back, sold my car, and moved to New York with $500. That was
You
it.
sold all that stuff and only made $500? That's terrible.
Yeah.
How bad was this car?
No, all my stuff
Oh.
and my car.
So
And
she took
my
the car too.
Oh, okay, all right. The car went with.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So then you
Car-
get
you know,
get
the
to
car
New
was a
York
separate
City with
person.
nothing, but thank goodness for your aunt being there. You had a place to crash then.
I had a place to crash. Then I lived with my cousin, and then there became a series of sublets and bad roommate situations. But
That's how
it's
you live it,
interesting.
man. Right? You got to do that.
Well, and I had such energy that I just like, bam, audition, bam, audition. Yeah, sure. I'll get 4 hours sleep and work 2 jobs and then go.
Yeah. So, but
You
you
know,
weren't,
so-
you didn't have an equity, you didn't have, that kind of stuff. How did you just going from audition to all these open calls?
Yeah, non-union open calls. And the thing that got me my equity card is I was singing in a cabaret bar on Christopher Street called the Duplex.
Okay.
And I was singing Somewhere That's Green, and the music director handed me his card and said, "We just lost an understudy, call me." And so basically I went to his studio, sang to understudy Audrey and all 3 urchins, and got hired for the Boston cast of Little Shop of Horrors.
Get out of here.
And I lived in Boston for 6 months.
So you were singing in this club. What was the name of it again?
The Duplex.
The Duplex, and somebody there saw you and said,
Yeah.
"I like what you do. Here's my card. Come over here and audition for this thing." Or did he just give you
Yeah.
the job right on the spot, basically?
No, he wanted. I needed to audition because the director needed to see
Ah,
me.
yes, that was the music director who handed that to you. That's right. So then the director and music director met you and said, "Here's a job in Boston." So then you lived in Boston for a while. You said 6 months
6 months. Yeah, I was the left branch of the plant because it takes 5 puppeteers. When the plant takes over everybody at the end, it takes 5 puppeteers. So I was the left branch, and then there were like 4 other people. But
So the director heard you audition and sing and said, "Oh my gosh, she is so good to be a left branch."
Yes.
That's
more important than the right branch.
Yeah, obviously.
They're like, oh, "Wow, you're the right height to be the left branch." I was only 5'2". So what's interesting is when I was understudying the urchins, since I couldn't be black because I'm obviously Chinese and Russian.
Oh.
So I'm part Mongolian, yay. So but isn't everybody from the Ukraine?
Yeah, everybody.
So they put a red wig on me and they directed me to do the character like Cyndi Lauper.
Oh, nice. So you're over there doing
like,
girls just want to have fun the whole time while you.
Yeah, it's just like, alarm goes off at 7 and you go uptown. So you play Crystal, and because I'm not gonna racially appropriate.
Yeah.
So it made sense. It was great. There's like, okay, you're Cyndi Lauper. You have a thick New York accent. Get on stage, baby. Yeah. You're in our gang.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's a really fun
I'm
thing
already
to do.
loving this whole path that you've been on because everybody listening is like, oh my gosh, so it didn't just happen instantaneously for you then.
I worked so hard there. I don't want you to think that I was in a cabaret bar and got discovered to be the left branch of the plant. No, it's much harder than that. No, this is what's crazy. They have hostess bars, and I worked 9 to 5 in the fashion industry, and then at 6 o'clock I was in an off Broadway play, and I'd go to rehearsal, and we only had performances on weekends, and then at 9 o'clock I would go to the geisha house. This is the last year before I got into Little Shop. I would go to we called it the geisha house, but it was a Japanese piano bar. And the Japanese girls were hostesses, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Oh, boy.
And the American girls would sing and dance.
Which is a better gig.
Yeah, so we got to sing and dance with them, for these Wall Street guys. And people would pay $900 for this. It was like a speakeasy.
Wow. Oh.
And so I was working all that time. I worked 3 jobs, got 4 hours sleep, got home, slept on the train, tried not to miss my stop, took a 4-hour nap, got dressed, came back and started it all over again. So I wasn't just discovered at a bar.
No, obviously, yeah.
freaking worked for it. You know,
You weren't just some person there like, oh, I'll get up and do my karaoke and just happens to be Spielberg in the audience and heard me. You know, it's like, no, it was much harder. You had to all the things, but you just left Toledo and just went with really not much of a plan then, huh?
Left Toledo. You know what? My Aunt Sandy is kind of like Auntie Mame. She has since passed, but she became like my New York mom, or you know, she was just my aunt. She was really cool.
Yeah.
And she just said, you're meant for bigger things. She's like, get out of here, get out of this town.
Wow.
Get out of this town. And what happened is I met some people that were on tour, some actors who were on tour came to see the band, and this guy walked up and two of them said, you need to come to New York. And I went, what do you, like, do you act? Yeah, I'm an actress as well. We can tell you had us crying during that song. You need to come to New York. And so I had all these signs. There was Aunt Sandy,
you could have ignored all of this.
But I couldn't, you know, it was just, it wasn't right for me. I needed to see what I could do. And like, my dream was always to be on Broadway.
Yeah.
So, you know. And
then you just started going to all these open auditions and so you got your equity card and you from working the job in Boston, and then that probably opened up some more opportunities obviously for you then when you got back to New York.
Well, what we would do is we would take the train on Mondays back to New York and audition for our next job.
Oh, jeez.
Just think, you know, because the show was going to close eventually.
Yeah.
And then, you know, what happened? Side note, I was Carolee Carmello's understudy. Carolee Carmello is like a big Broadway star now.
I believe you.
But she was amazing. She was the song captain. She's the one that basically gave me vocal coaching so I could do the Cyndi Lauper.
Oh.
And she taught me how to do, you know, she taught me everything about Audrey and Little Shop. So Carolee Carmello, and we still write each other on Instagram here and there, but she's a big Broadway star. That's kind of cool.
That is cool.
So, but yeah, so we would come in on Mondays on the train and defect basically. And I crashed the audition for Into the Woods. It was just the Equity Building. There were like 7 auditions there. And I walked up and I said, you guys, come on. I'm only here one day. Let me in. Let me in. And they're like, okay, if nobody shows up, we'll let you in.
Wow.
And I'm like, thanks, man.
No agent got you an audition. You just crashed it.
Nope. I crashed an open call. And I walked in and I sang. They said, do you have a song that would be Little Red Riding Hood? And I said, well, I imagine Little Red Riding Hood was afraid. What if I do like I whistle a happy tune and I'll be afraid in the woods? And I was just there. I wasn't like freaking out about the audition. So I sang Whistle a Happy Tune. And then they said, okay, stand there and do this Cinderella. Okay, stand there and do it as Rapunzel. You know, they were like, I think I sang like 3 songs and in different ways they were directing me. And I walked out of the audition and this person behind me said, we figured they gave you the job. You were there for like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Nobody is there that long. That was like the longest audition. What did you do? Like,
yeah, you get 30 seconds.
Man.
Yeah.
I was just, you know, you usually get 32 bars. They talk to you for a minute and you get out. You know, so that's like 3 minutes. But it was like 6 to 10 minutes. I was in there for a very long time. Then they took Into the Woods to the Old Globe without me. But then after it was tested in California or in San Diego, they brought it back to New York, and my agent Louis called me, and Louis said, he said, I don't know how they got your name because I didn't submit you, which was his first mistake telling me that. But you have a callback to be Bernadette Peters' stunt woman and understudy Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel, and Cinderella.
Wow.
So, okay, so I'm going to try to give you the really short version of this audition.
It's okay.
It's kind of epic. So I get it, right? And I pick out my coolest dress and I put my hair in a ponytail. It's a really hot day. And I have these canary yellow boots because I figured they look kind of like, you know, they're ankle boots and they look a little like fairy tale-y. I just wanted to look like a fairy tale princess, right? So I'm dressed in my little outfit and I have one token. I have no money and I have one train token and I'm going to take the token downtown. I put the token in and the train breaks down and they won't give me my token back. So I go out the gate And I run up, luckily the office was still open. I ran to my temp agency and I said, you guys, I have a Broadway callback. I have no money for transportation. Can anybody give me just 2 tokens? One, just in the train broke down and I'm like, I have to make this audition. You guys help me. And so the manager comes out and she goes, I'm going to give you $10. It was either $5 or $10. I can't remember. But she said, I'm going to give you this money. You're going to get that audition. And then you're going to get me good seats. I'm like, yes. He goes, take the $10, go, get that job, right?
Nice.
So I'm running down the street, and then I get on a bus. So I'm going a few blocks on the bus, and the bus gets a flat tire.
Oh my
Gosh.
And so it's sweaty, and there's gas fumes, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And I was like, you guys. So I thought, well, I've got to make this really dramatic. I'm going to stand in front of the gas fumes so I smell like gas so that they'll know when I'm late that something really bad happened. And so I think I had to run. Because I was really late. I had to run 8 blocks, 8 New York blocks to get to the audition.
In your yellow boots.
And in my yellow boots and my white dress.
Oh,
my
boy.
White, with gold and blue flower dress. Is my favorite dress. I loved this dress. And my hair in a ponytail, and it's like all a miss. Oh, my God. And I get there, and Joanna Merlin says, well, you missed your appointment. We're already into the callbacks of this session. We're already dancing people. And I look around, and all these girls are pristine, and they have Bernadette Peters wigs, or they've done their hair in many, many curls, and they have big red lips, and they all look like Cupid dolls. And I'm a wreck. I am a mess.
And smell like gas fumes.
Joanna, and I smell like gas fumes. I said, you probably smell the gas fumes. The train broke down. The bus broke down. I just ran 8 city blocks. I had to borrow money to come here. Please, please see me. Just give me 5 minutes to freshen up and smell good in the bathroom. And I'll come out and I will knock your socks off. She's like, okay, you can't make up that story. Yes, I believe you, and you do smell bad. So she let me clean up, and then they took me in there, and at first they just stood me there, and the makeup artist came, and he measured my face, and he put a picture of Bernadette next to me to see, what could be done. And then, they sang me, they danced me, and I think the casting director just kind of like smirked at me, like, good job, kid,
Wow.
And then I thanked them, and as I was walking home, we had beepers. We didn't have cell phones yet because it wasn't, it was 1987.
Okay.
So 86, and I'm walking home because I want to save the money because I don't know what's going to happen. Right?
You took the money from the other person and like, I'm keeping this.
Yeah,
money.
well, no. I used it for transportation.
Yeah.
But I walked home. I kept $8 of it. But I used $2
$8
for transportation. But I kept it in my pocket, not to really spend on food or anything, but honestly, what if I needed to go back and I couldn't get back fast enough? Yeah. That could be cab fare. That was transportation money for this Broadway show. So I leave the audition and I say, I'm going to walk home from here, which was like, I don't know, 40 New York blocks.
Wow.
And it's like, but you're used to walking in New York, and I'm a dancer, so I'm walking all the time.
You're fine. Yeah.
So I'm walking, and then I get paged, and it's Louis, and he said, you got the job. And,
wow.
I had to call him on a payphone, and he said, you got the job. And then the next phone call was my mom, and I said, Mom, I'm going to be on Broadway. And she went, of course you are.
Oh,
Is that an incredible story?
Of course you are.
No
She was
money.
just waiting for that call someday to say, I'm going to be on Broadway. She knew.
Yeah.
But everything against
imagine
you,
that.
and you still got through to it.
Everything against me, and I smell bad, and I'm sweaty and dirty when I get to the audition.
Yeah, in 87, you get the page. You have to walk to a payphone to call to find out what the page is for. Yeah, you can't just, no one's sending you a text message. No one's giving you a call. You have to call back and say, sorry, you didn't
and
get
hope
it. Or
to reach them,
yeah, exactly. You don't know what the answer is still until you call.
But I was so poor. I was so poor. I had to borrow money for transportation.
Yeah. That's an amazing story. Absolutely.
So that was the beginning of my career.
Yes, and now you're in California, and now you're working on something really cool, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we want to talk about now, because we want to make sure we pimp this out too for you, obviously. So we gotta talk about this. Yeah. So you were saying, what is this show that you're working on right now? Did you write it?
Yeah. I
Awesome.
took a rock musical.
So wait a minute.
Do you write?
Are you a musician and a writer and an everything? You do like everything.
I do stuff.
Okay, continue. I'm sorry. What is this you're doing?
Well, so I had two bands,
Okay.
Maureen and the Mercury 5 and the Flutterbys. And the Flutterbys had two placements in feature placements, meaning it was music, background music, or foreground music. In this case, it was foreground music. You'd actually hear the lyrics in The Descendants with George Clooney.
Oh.
And so I had this album of songs. Yeah, you've heard of them.
Yeah.
This album of songs that did pretty well. And then I had Maureen and the Mercury 5, and that was my rockabilly band. And we toured and we played rockabilly shows with Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. And we even got to play for Dick Dale, the surf guitar legend. So we got to meet some cool people. So I have these two bands. I have these two bands. And, you know, it's COVID and we break up the bands. And it was right before COVID came out. I met with my friend David, and I said, I want to get back to the theater. I want a through line for all of these songs.
You want a what?
And a through line. I want, you know, what connects them.
Thank you.
Yeah, what story is going to connect these? And we looked up, you know, the Anne Margaret story or the Wanda Jackson story or something, and we Googled women rock 1950s. Because that was the style of music, kind of. And what came up was Ann Hodges hit by meteorite, Sylacauga, Alabama, 1954.
Okay.
woman rock, 1950s. So
oh my gosh! So a woman got hit by a meteorite in real life. That's what that was.
So yeah. So David looks at me and he goes, "There's your story." I'm like, That's not my story.
Oh my gosh.
You know. So we ended up writing this play called A Falling Star at Buzzard's Roost, where this Molly's Drive-In Dance and Dine is a diner that has a piece of that meteorite that fell. And so it's in the Talladega Forest, and it's a tourist trap. So it has the best French fries made with beer.
Oh my gosh.
And a piece of the meteorite, and it shows, because of the meteorite, they decided to open a drive-in, and they show the worst sci-fi movies ever made.
Oh my gosh!
So,
this plot did fall right in your lap, though. I mean, everything's lining up to be this
really
kooky, crazy, amazing. You have a lot of material to work with. It sounds like.
Exactly, and you take from life and you disguise it as somebody else's story, as some character's story. But what's funny is, the tagline for the show. I'm trying to look for what do we call it? The tale of a microphone, a meteor, and a love that transcends time.
Now, explain exactly what it is, though. I want people to be able to find it and where it is and all that kind of stuff too. Besides what this thing is about, I want people to know that you're from the area. Everybody in this area needs to know what you're doing and follow you, and all of a sudden boost up everything that you're doing.
Yeah, they do. It's so. Back in the 30s and 40s, they did something called radio theater. People would listen to The Shadow or listen to whatever. And as years went on, it became a Prairie Home Companion. So on PBS, you could watch the radio show be performed in that old style.
Okay.
So I took a rock musical and made it a radio play, complete with a Foley artist who does all the sound effects. Nice. He's got the coconut shells for the horses, and he's got the whistles and the, whatever. So it's a rock musical radio play. So rock musical done as a radio play. So you're listening to a Broadway musical.
Very cool.
And there aren't really, I don't know that there are that many out there. I've seen radio plays out there, but I haven't seen rock musicals.
I haven't either.
Is this music you've written or music from other people?
It's all my music.
It's all your music. And you're singing it and performing it and...
With other characters, with other actors. Dave Foley from Kids in the Hall plays my best friend.
Very cool. I love Dave Foley.
I miss news radio.
Oh my God, he was so good on news radio.
Yeah, I love him from Blast from the Past. That was the day when I saw that name, I was like, no way. Blast from the Past, where he's so great in that movie. I have to go to the bathroom. It's like, oh my God.
And
Oh,
he
good.
and
I'm
his
glad to
wife
hear he's nice,
Chrissy
too,
are
obviously.
in it. Yeah. And he and his wife Chrissy are in it. And Gary Anthony Williams from Whose Line Is It Anyway and Reno 911
Oh, yeah,
and Rock the Eagle.
yeah.
He's super cool. He's in it. And a
These
guy
are people,
named
you
Antonio
got these
Jaramillo.
people. Wow, you just become a bigger and bigger deal every time you keep talking. You know that, right?
My director got these people.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I got Antonio Jaramillo from Mayans MC,
Mm-hmm.
and I got the Foley actor Jeff Gardner.
Yeah, Dave
But-
Foley.
No.
Different Foley?
No.
Oh, okay.
The Foley actor.
Oh, okay. Sorry. That was a bad
Foley
dad
actor.
joke. I know.
We actually did a video about that. We did
Oh,
a funny Foley on. We call it Foley on Foley. If you go to us on YouTube, you'll see Dave Foley trying to fight the Foley actor.
Gotcha.
I'm Foley. No, I'm Foley. No, I'm Foley.
See, I actually had a kind of good joke then.
Almost had
I just
it.
didn't think
had
of
a
it
good joke.
first, is all.
So basically, it's the music that I've written. It's all the music I've written since 2007. So it's the music of 20 years of my music career.
Wow.
It's my favorite songs I've ever written, put into a storyline about a meteorite in Sylacauga, Alabama. And yeah, so what happens is I set up my microphone and because I have a 1950s mic, they're called Shure 55s.
Oh.
And it interacts with the meteor that fell in 1950s because there's a thunderstorm outside, and it sends us back in time to learn valuable lessons about life and love.
Wow.
So,
Is your music basically
Yeah.
1950s music that you're writing?
well, yeah, the Rockabilly Band was
Rockabilly.
1950s
Okay.
music.
Gotcha.
Now, so the music from 2007 to 2013 was the Flutterbys, and we call that alt country outlaw. So it's kind of like roots rock. It's very gritty guitar.
Cool.
Yeah. So and I had all the stems from those songs. The stems are the different tracks of the instrument.
Thank you.
And yes, like the stems on a plant. A
Okay.
plant has many, many stems. So yeah. So I kept all those tracks separate, and then I had Maureen and the Mercury 5, and Maureen and the Mercury 5 had 3 albums out. So I kept all those tracks separate. So when we wrote the play, all we had to do was hire the actors to replace the vocals and then remix the song. So over half of the music was already recorded, just waiting for an actor.
Wow.
And I wrote 5 more songs specifically for the show to move it along. Because when you write a play with music, or write an actual musical or an operetta, the songs can't just be, oh, well, I just saw that in a scene. Why are they singing about it? The songs have to move it along.
You have to help tell the story. Exactly.
Exactly. So it's the music of those 2 bands. It's outlaw country and rockabilly. And then Claire Ghost, who's our producer, had to listen to everything and say, okay, what's the through line? I've got to have a growly guitar in every up-tempo song. So even though they were produced by different people, it sounds like it belongs on the
It was
same
all meant to
soundtrack.
go together originally. Like it was all meant that way.
Continuity thing.
Exactly.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
So where
She
can people listen to this show?
They can listen to the show at www.opendoorplayhouse.org. And it's just the way it sounds, OPENDOOR playhouse.org.
Gotcha. OpenDoorPlayhouse.org.
But they can also listen to it on Spotify and Amazon and iTunes. Wherever you listen to podcasts, you can listen to this radio theater production.
There you go. Because I want to make
of
sure that I
Falling
direct
Star
them
of
to
the
it as well. When we post this episode, everybody needs to go out, and I'll share. Obviously, at the same time, I'll share links to the Spotify and Apple and all that kind of stuff, so that people can easily find it. So it makes it easier for everybody to not even. There's no
my
excuses.
goodness.
Okay, so this is an audio
Thank you so
podcast.
much.
Is there a chance that
This isn't.
you want to move this into something visual? That's something that
Oh, absolutely. But we'll still do it as a radio play. We'll still do it like Firesign Theater, or the guys from Monty Python just had, Eric Idle had, what was Eric Idle? Eric Idle just had a radio show on Netflix.
That's impressive. I mean, I know the Monty
Yeah,
Python
it was really
thing.
cool. Yeah. Eric Idle.
I'll bet you lost Kyle when you said
radio
Fire
show.
Sign Theater.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I actually
I'm just,
Yeah,
and
Fire
you're saying a
Sign
lot
is-
of things that
yeah.
are beyond me.
I actually own Fire Sign.
So I have homework
Theater.
for you.
Okay.
Well, I have albums by
you
Fire
really?
Sign Theater. Yeah.
See?
That's why I
How can
brought
you
Thom.
be
Thom
into
knows
places
stuff.
at once when you're not anywhere at all?
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't have them memorized.
No, my big sister made me memorize them.
Wow.
That was her torture. I had to
She
memorize
made you.
Yeah. Okay, so to get an idea of what it would be like on stage, a radio play, you can either look at episodes of Prairie Home Companion on PBS, old episodes, or you can go to Netflix and look up Eric Idle's What About Dick?
What about Dick?
And What About Dick? And you'll see a lot of British actors in it. But a radio play is basically like a staged reading, but the music, like in our case, the music would be live, and the actors are there. And it's kind of fun. The actors don't have to memorize anything. It's interesting because you could see different actors playing different characters rather than having a cast of thousands, you know?
Right, yeah. We've had a couple places here in town, a couple theaters do them. The Village Players did a radio show of A Christmas Carol or It's a Wonderful Life, I think it was. And they had a Foley actor on the stage doing all the stuff, too. One guy running around making all the noise. Yeah, it was like crazy.
Right, and that's what's fun about it.
Yeah, and doing all the different voices. One guy was, back and forth. One time was an old guy. Next time he was a young girl. It was like back and forth. He's like, hey, let me do that. Yeah, it's crazy.
And sometimes the mix-ups are some of the best part of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like right now, they have those Broadway shows. What went wrong? Peter Pan. What went wrong? Romeo and Juliet. And so or Romeo and Juliet go wrong. And those are hilarious. So that's the beauty of the radio plays. We can look at the audience and wink, and we can look at the Foley artist who's using coconut shells and go, really, dude?
Really?
Coconut shells? We can break character and like mess with them, and that's that's the fun. That's the fun of it. So yes, we are looking to do it live. We have an offer from somebody at PBS maybe, and to film it and get it distributed regionally on PBS, and then it can be sold nationally.
Wow.
And having a few celebs in it is helpful.
Doesn't hurt. Yeah.
It does
And
not
you
hurt.
wanted to come on our show? Why? I'm just trying to wow.
Your goal is to be
'cause
the
it's Toledo.
The goal is to be the rocking Garrison Keillor.
Yes, kind of. Yeah, without the.
Please explain. Come on. I don't know what this means. Other people listening, I have no idea what
Keillor
that
is the Prairie Home Companion person who writes it and does the main performer of that.
Thank you.
I think you're right. Yeah, I want to be the rock and roll Garrison Keillor.
There you go.
Or Hallie Flanagan from the 1930s. So Hallie Flanagan was in charge of all the theater during the Great Depression.
Wow.
And my friend just looked at me and goes, "You're trying to be Hallie Flanagan." And your people have said, "Why aren't you just doing it like live theater?" And I said, "Well, actors have already suffered from COVID. And in LA, we lost wages due to AB5 until that was straightened out. It was a thing that was abolishing gig workers. And now we have SAG and Writers Guild strikes. It's like we're constantly in flux, and we don't really get the respect we need, nor do we get the money fast enough. So I wanted to produce radio plays so actors get in and out with quick pay turnaround and have a finished product. And so that's why I started doing this. I started doing this so I could hire people and create work.
Nice.
But also, I'm a playwright. The next play is hopefully going to be by my friend Amy Engelhart. And then I met these great guys named All Day Sucker, Morty Coyle, and they have like this epic Hollywood rock and roll history, and they're thinking of writing a musical like I did. And there's this woman named Pamela Phillips Oland who has European Theater Awards, and she's one of my mentors, and she's agreed to maybe give us one of her plays to produce. So it's all about now getting the funding for all of that so that I can continue producing, and it doesn't have to be my stuff, although I'd like to at least be acting in it.
Yeah.
Sure, of course.
Wow, man. I'm just telling you, like way
is
back
cool.
when you were in your little elementary school, shows and any idea this was going to happen. I mean, it's like all this stuff that you've accomplished, all this stuff that you've continued to do. Like you said, though, too, it's not like it just happened. You fought for it and you just kept jumping over hurdle after hurdle after hurdle, it sounds like.
Yeah, you don't say, you never say never. My mom used to say, um, be anything, go everywhere, and do anything. And, within my own personal limits, I did. I mean, I haven't jumped out of airplanes, and I don't go rappelling or anything that would physically break a leg because
Yeah.
I need him to dance.
But other than that, you've
But you
just
get to a certain age, and other than that, musically, acting wise, writing wise, I can't. I can't stop, man. I can't stop. I can't quit.
and you're always learning, it sounds like, too. Always learning one more thing and then another thing and then another thing. That's what I was getting from all this is like you're down in Boston doing something, but you're still going to do the next thing. And like, obviously somewhere along the lines, you learn how to write music and it's just crazy.
What instrument do you basically write your music on, or do you just write it?
I mostly guitar, but since I've been teaching, I'm a master vocal coach and beginner piano teacher, and I also teach ukulele and guitar. I've gotten better on piano. I've gotten better on piano.
You're teaching in like 30 minutes from now. That's why you were nice enough to get us on before you had to do another thing that you do in your life.
But I mean, did you learn music at high school, college, past that point?
Yes.
Yes,
of course.
I learned guitar from Toledo and Carrie Clark. I don't
know.
If you know
Carrie, you did not.
Carrie sang at my wedding.
Tom sat right beside him when we went and saw Dear Evan Hansen. Yeah.
Carrie Clark taught me guitar.
Get out
we
of
used
here.
to skip class, or he was the good guy. I would skip class and he would go to class. But on breaks, we would go into practice rooms and he would teach me guitar chords.
Wow.
And he taught me piano too.
Wow.
Carrie Clark.
There
Carrie
we go.
Clark.
There's somebody I know. His son Robbie actually did a show with my son. So it's like all this kind of stuff. That's how we got to know him. So look at this.
So Carrie Clark kept me sane through high school and taught me music. And then when I got into college, I took group piano lessons, Bela Bartok, and you take music theory and, do that. And so you become a better piano player because you're learning how chords and intervals and inversions work and And then when I got to New York, I had to learn how to read sheet music a lot better and a lot faster. They're very unforgiving in Broadway shows. You have to freaking study. So, I did my best, but I would say I learned most of my music and music theory in Los Angeles, working with my bands because they were just all such high caliber musicians. They taught me so much about national number system and intervals and, the rhythms and syncopation and things of modern music, it's been crazy.
So you said they were unforgiving when it came to sheet music. Were you talking about playing or actually auditions and singings and stuff?
You need to be able to read at an audition. They need to be able to hand you a sheet of music and you need to go, oh yeah, I can read this melody.
There you go. No problem. It's sight singing right there, huh?
So one of the most difficult things was in 2019, I was Sister Kate, the fun nun, Sister Catherine for the TV show Good Omens promotional tour. So I wasn't on the show, but they assembled the Chattering Order of St. Beryl. And what we do is our worship is we talk incessantly. And we're from Tadfield, England. So we basically sounded like British parrots. So 6 of us. And we were all comedians and improv artists, but we had to sing 6-part harmony. So they hired a choir director from the Sweet Adelines, I think it was, here in Los Angeles, to train the 6 of us in 6-part harmonies written by the guy from Pitch Perfect,
wow,
who did all those arrangements, and sanctioned by Brian May from Queen.
Queen, guitar player.
Yeah. So we were singing 6-part harmony Queen songs as well as songs that were written for us to promote Good Omens, the TV show on Amazon Prime. And you can look up the Chattering Order of St. Beryl and hear our music and see what we did. So that was the last thing I did before this radio play.
Nice.
So I'll send you the link.
Please send us everything. Yeah. Send us all the photos, all the links, anything you have. We will make sure we include Carrie Clark's honorable mention.
I'm so glad I got to give Carrie Clark an honorable mention. And then Eddie Boggs. Eddie Boggs was very influential in our music too.
Did you know Diane?
I knew Diane. Yep.
Diane
and I sang in choir together. Diane Scribner. Yep. Absolutely. I would
they put
say
CDs
the
out together.
People,
wow.
Oh yeah, the 3 people that were most instrumental in my music career, in at least the beginnings, were Carrie and Diane and Eddie Boggs. But then my band, I don't know, the guys have still got to be playing. Yeah, it was just they were pretty fantastic people. A few of them passed. But go ahead. Used to what?
I used to do the Children's Miracle Network telethon, and it would have Eddie Boggs, Diane Scribner, Carrie Patrick Clark, and they were the music talent that would come on, and they actually hosted for a number of years.
Oh my
God! This has got to be.
They were just missing
ago.
Maureen Davis.
I was going to ask, by any chance, did you ever do one of those?
I might have. And then we did a lot of work with people at BG, at Bowling Green, and Luis Chalazan was the TV director over there. Luis, and he was a big fan of the band. And Luis taught me how to jitterbug and salsa. He was my first dance teacher as far as social dancing. And we did it, we practiced. And I would do, toward the end, right before I broke up, when it broke off from Maureen and the Movers, I used to do these like amazing dance breaks with Luis and his brother. And he would it was incredible.
Did you go to a dance studio in town then and get all your training from them, or?
Well, I learned social dance from Luis, and my dad danced. My dad did jitterbug and salsa and all that stuff. And then I was a dance major, I think, minor. It was one of those things. I studied dance at UT, and it was these 2 sisters who taught. They weren't Valois. It was Anna Marie and her other sister, and they taught belly dance and they taught ballet. I had an amazing jazz and modern teacher, and they taught me how to use my body and how to recover from broken feet, because I broke my feet a few times.
Did you just? Oh wow, okay, that's a dancer. Yeah. Is that just when you're like? Yeah. So you didn't start hardcore dancing until you got into college? You didn't go to like Daryl Jarvis or something when you were 7 and do that the whole time?
No.
Yeah, that's crazy.
No, I was in Hebrew school.
It's still crazy to me that of all the things, like you didn't do any of this official training until you got into college more, and they were like, "This is what we're gonna do now," and that's. I mean, you started and you had a passion and a love for it, but there was no, let's get this girl on the fast track to training because we see something in her going on. That didn't happen.
My mom was a big band singer. My mom was an opera star. I got my voice lessons for free, either through school or through Temple or from my mom.
Yeah.
And then when I got into college, another person who would check in with me vocally, he was my friend Eric Hillenbrand, and I think he's an art dealer.
He's still around here.
Yeah. Eric gave me
was doing things with the Rep Forever. He was a Ghost of Christmas Present for the longest time here. Yeah.
Man. I'm also back in touch with Mark Standriff and Sally.
You are from the area.
Yeah.
Whom I introduced. them. Sally was a few years behind me in high school, and I introduced her to Mark. So there, meow.
Yeah. So they owe you everything.
Or she was on speech team, and maybe I didn't introduce them, and I said, "Oh, I know her. You should know her too."
That was your introduction.
That works.
Yeah, but we're in touch on Facebook a little bit, and there's this wonderful journalist named Melissa Burden, and Melissa, she was a really good friend in high school, and she always accepted me. When high schools can be cliquey.
Yeah.
Melissa was always really steadfast. and we got in touch on Facebook. I've been really grateful to Facebook for getting me back in touch. The biggest thing, though, is I lie about my age in LA. So now I'm inching closer to telling the truth. But if I look younger in LA and I don't have to tell them, then that's great. But
yeah. You
everybody
can't be friends with all these old people on
and what I
Facebook.
did.
They'll out you, huh?
No.
We won't ask either, but the WERC thing kind of dated you a little bit.
Uh-uh.
All right. So, no. I don't know. I'm not sure it did. Did it? I don't know. Maybe I got the letters wrong. No. You know, I'm just going to keep working until I can't work anymore.
Absolutely.
You know, it's an exciting time. And we're actually going to re-release the radio show because I had it as one long show with commercial breaks, but we didn't release it as episode 1 through 4. So this week I'm re-releasing it as episode 1 through 4. And actually people could just Google A Falling Star at Buzzard's Roost Spotify.
Yeah.
And if they go to that, you're going to get the soundtrack and you're going to get a choice to listen to the musical. But I did release the soundtrack separately as well for people who just want to hear the music.
Oh, nice. So there's the soundtrack on Spotify to hear the music, and then there's also the podcast on Spotify.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Exactly.
We're going to share all that stuff. And then if you could please send us any kind of promotional material that you have, happy to share it.
Aw, thank you so much. You guys are just hilarious. I really loved that you went to see the Carole King musical.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just read about that.
Well, the lead actor was actually our
amazing.
intern at one point.
Yeah.
The girl played Carole King.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she was singing in my office.
Cool.
I'm like, wow, you're pretty good.
Yeah.
Boy, is she good.
Yeah, and Sarah Shepard, who's on the national tour as Carole King right now, is from Whitmer High School. So.
Oh my
And
God.
we've
Whitmer.
talked to her also.
Yeah. This is quite the community and area here in Northwest Ohio that loves and supports performing arts, and I'm very proud of our community and all that kind of stuff. When Sarah came and did the national tour, man, that was a ruckus of a support. It was amazing when she walked onto the stage. Everybody just lost their minds. Is that kind of support in this area? Yeah, it's great.
It's pretty wonderful. I've got to say, you know, some of my favorite memories were made at the Toledo Rep
Nice.
and at University of Toledo.
Beautiful.
And I paid my way through college making cheese balls for the cabaret showcase that they had after the shows, and as the theater historian. And I really commend the music and the theater and the dance departments of the University of Toledo.
Nice.
They're really fantastic.
Wow.
I'm going to need a cheese ball recipe now.
Well, I don't think we can keep you much longer. I feel like you're already running into class right now, and we're holding you back. I know you. We really, really, really appreciate you spending time and talking to us about your whole life, though.
Oh my God! Can I give one more plug? One more plug
Absolutely.
really quick.
Plug away.
Go for
Okay.
it.
So the two big things, and the reason my friend Paula was over here, I don't know if Paula got her name mentioned. Paula and I have something called the Sleepyland Band, and it's songs for bedtime even mom and dad will like.
Oh.
So when you listen to the songs, and we just released an album, and we will be registering to be Grammy nominees.
Wow.
So she was over here, and we were doing all our research today because somebody said they wanted to nominate us for a Grammy, but we have to do all the background check paperwork and all the entry stuff. And they said, when you're ready, I've got the letter of recommendation. So we were really flattered. Sleepyland Band. And when you listen to the music, you'll hear the guitar parts and go, oh, that's a little bit like Van Morrison, or that sounds a little like Beatles. So it makes it easier for the parents to listen to.
Us old people.
And not just Barney
Yes.
Barney stuff, you know.
Yes.
La, la, la. So the two projects are Sleepyland Band, and that's also on Spotify and iTunes and Mama.
What's it called again?
And
Sleepy Land Band.
Sleepyland Band.
Mhm.
Sleepyland Band. And there will be a book series there's a book for each song that'll be coming out. So
Cool.
it's kind of exciting. And the radio play, A Falling Star at Buzzard's Roost.
Yes. Go listen to it, people. Get out there, find them all on Spotify. Click the links when I share this thing. Everybody go support another local person kicking butt in the theater and performing art world out there, because you should. You just should. And we are very proud of everybody who's come from here and is still doing it.
Yeah, thank you for talking to me. I think I'm always going to be a Toledo girl. Keeps me humble.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good thing. And if we don't cut it off now, I'll just keep talking forever. So that's just the way I am.
I
Besides,
know.
I have
I
to
think
go to
that's a
listen
good
to the-
place to stop.
I have to go listen to Falling Star Buzzard Zoo, so I have it on my phone right now.
All right.
You're gonna have to like edit this down to like.
Nothing.
You have to edit 20 minutes out of this,
We're
right?
keeping the whole thing.
He just cuts me out. That's all.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I cut the boring part out. Tom, he's good.
Tom's done.
Thank you for coming
Oh my
on.
God. Well, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Wonderful meeting you, Maureen.
So nice to meet you too. And keep supporting theater, you guys. Toledo's a pretty cool town.
Thanks. I think so.
See, she keeps saying the cool things. And
I
you
know.
have
What
to
were we
leave
supposed to
in.
do? We're supposed to stop now. All right, we're going to say goodbye again now. Don't talk now.
Okay,
Bye.
1, 2, 3. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.